Hello all. To know OOPS concept or object-oriented programming concepts very clearly, please welcome as here we are with OOPS concepts moral stories. Who wants to know kids moral stories on OOPS concepts like abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism? While interviewer asks you on the OOPS concepts, if you answer is on this moral stories way with linking programming language, it will be always positive feedback in the interview. Now let's start. First interviewer question is, what is abstraction? Now the answer will be with the moral stories with the linking on the programming language. Now let's listen the story first. Once upon a time in a bustling forest, there was a wise old owl named Oliver. Oliver was known for his deep understanding of how the forest worked. He knew that the forest was full of many animals, each with its own special role and skills. One day, young Tommy the turtle approached Oliver. Oliver, he said, I want to understand how the forest works. Can you teach me everything? Oliver nodded wisely. I can teach you, Tommy. But remember, sometimes it's best not to know every little detail. It's enough to know what each animal does. Tommy looked puzzled but agreed. So Oliver began to explain more. You see, Tommy, the bees collect nectar from flowers and make honey. The birds spread seeds so new plants can grow. The ants clean up the forest floor by carrying away dead leaves. Each animal has a job and they do it well without needing to know how the others do their jobs. Tommy thought about this and said, so the bees don't need to know how the ants clean up, and the ants don't need to know how the birds spread seeds? Oliver said, exactly. Each animal focuses on its role. This way, the forest runs smoothly without everyone needing to know everything. They trust each other to do their jobs. Tommy nodded, finally understanding. So, I just need to know what the other animals do, not how they do it. Oliver smiled. That's right, Tommy. When everyone does their part and trusts each other, the forest thrives. This is the secret to the forest's harmony. From that day on, Tommy felt more confident. He focused on his own role and trusted that the other animals would do theirs. The forest continued to thrive, and Tommy lived happily, knowing that he did not need to know everything to understand how forest worked. He just needed to know and trust the roles each animal played. And so, the forest remained a beautiful, well organized place thanks to the wisdom of the old owl Oliver. Now let's link with the OOPS abstraction concept in the programming language. In the story, the forest represents a complex system, similar to a software application. Each animal represents a different component or class within the system, each with its own specific responsibilities. Key concepts of abstraction in the story: roles and responsibilities. Each animal, here animal is class, has a defined role and responsibilities. So role and responsibility are methods and properties. The bees make honey. These are the examples. The birds spread seeds and the ants clean up. Now we are going through hiding complexity. The details of how each animal performs its role are hidden from the others. The bees don't need to know how the ants clean up, and the ants don't need to know how the birds spread seeds. This is similar how the internal workings of a class are hidden from other classes. Simplification and trust. By only understanding what each animal does and not how they do it, Tommy can grasp the overall functioning of the forest without being overwhelmed by details. In programming, this means that by understanding the interface of a class, what methods it provides, you don't need to know the internal implementation to use it effectively. Now there is an example you can see. So animal, there is an abstract class. We are extending from animal abstract class some concrete classes, bee, bird, and ant. And finally, we are writing the main class, forest class, where we are implementing all these classes. The explanation on this abstract class and method we'll talk first. Animal is an abstract class with an abstract method perform role. This method must be implemented by any class that extends animal. This abstract method is like the general concept of what each animal does without specifying how it is done. Now let's talk about concrete classes. Bee, bird, and ant are concrete classes that extend animal class and provide specific implementations of the perform role method. These classes hide the details of how they perform their roles, just like how each animal in the forest does not need to know the details of others' tasks. This is the most important. And now we are in main class, the forest class. The forest class creates instance of bee, bird, and ant and calls their perform role methods. This demonstrates how you can use the animal interface to interact with different animal types without knowing their internal workings, right? So now we are not creating the object directly like b equals to new b, right? We are not doing that. We are creating the object using the animal. Okay, so that's the interface here, or you can tell abstract class. So both are anyway abstraction, right? Both are following abstraction. By using abstraction, the forest class can interact with bee, bird, and ant through the animal interface or abstract class, okay? Mainly the abstraction layer.
Now let's go ahead with the OOPS concept encapsulation. So we'll go same way with the moral stories and then we'll link with the programming language with an example. So let's go with the moral stories first. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village, there was a baker named Ben who made the most delicious bread. Every morning, the villagers would line up outside Ben's bakery, eager to buy his warm, fragrant loaves. Ben had a special recipe with his bread, passed down from his grandmother. He kept this recipe a secret, written down in a small old notebook that he hid in a safe place. Ben believed that the secret to his wonderful bread was not just the recipe, but also the way he carefully measured the ingredients, kneaded the dough, and baked it to perfection. One day, a curious boy named Sam came to Ben's bakery. "Mr. Ben," Sam asked, "how do you make such tasty bread? Can you teach me?" Ben smiled kindly at Sam. "I'll tell you what, Sam. I will teach you how to make bread, but some parts of my recipe and process will remain a secret." Sam was excited and agreed. Ben taught him how to mix the flour, water, and yeast. He showed him how to knead the dough and shape it into loaves. But whenever it was time to add the special ingredients or perform the secret steps, Ben would do it quietly out of Sam's sight. Over time, Sam learned to make good bread, but it was never quite as wonderful as Ben's. He realized that there were special parts of the process that Ben kept it to himself. Sam understood that these secrets were what made Ben's bread too so special and unique. One day, Sam asked, "Mr. Ben, why do you keep some parts of your recipe a secret?" Ben replied, "Sam, some things are important to keep private. It's not just to protect my recipe but also to maintain the magic and uniqueness of the bread. By keeping some parts of the process hidden, I can ensure that every loaf I make it just right." Sam nodded thoughtfully. He realized that Ben's secrets were like little treasures that kept the bakery special. He also learned that it's okay to keep some things private if it helps to preserve what makes something unique and valuable. From then on, Sam respected Ben's secrets and focused on learning as much as he could about the parts of bread making that Ben shared with him. And every time he enjoyed a slice of Ben's perfect bread, he appreciated the magic of those hidden details. And so, the village continued to enjoy Ben's delicious bread. And Sam learned an important lesson about the value of keeping certain things private to preserve their specialness. Now let's link the story with the OOPS encapsulation with the programming language. In the story, Ben the baker represents a class in an object-oriented programming system. His secret recipe and special steps are like the private data and methods within a class. Encapsulation is about hiding those details and exposing only what is necessary. Key concepts of encapsulation in the story. First, hiding implementation details. Ben keeps certain parts of his recipe and process secret, similar to how a class hides its private data and methods. Second, controlled access. Ben allows Sam to learn the general process but keeps the special parts hidden. In OOPS, this is akin to providing public methods to interact with the private data, controlling how the data is accessed and modified. Third, preserving uniqueness and integrity. By keeping some details private, Ben ensures that his bread remains unique and high quality. In programming, encapsulation helps maintain the integrity of an object by preventing outside interference and misuse. Now let's see the example. We can see few classes here. One is the baker class, right? Then we have the bakery class, which is the main class. Okay, now let's do the explanation with this class and by linking the story. So first is about the private fields and methods. Secret recipe and secret ingredient are private fields in the baker class. These are like Ben's secret recipe and special steps hidden from the outside. There is another methods: prepare dough, add secret ingredients and bake are private methods. These methods handle the internal processes similar to how Ben performs the special steps out of sight. So these are all private which we are hiding inside. And whichever we are not hiding, those are public. Now let's go to the second one, public method. Make bread is a public method here that can called from outside the baker class. This method orchestrates the bread making process using the private methods. This is akin to Ben teaching Sam the general process but keeping the special parts private. Third is controlled access. By using the public method, which is make bread, the internal details of how the bread is made are hidden. This ensures that the special ingredients and steps remain private, preserving the uniqueness and integrity of the bread. Attempting to access secret recipe or call add secret ingredients from outside the baker class would result in an error, demonstrating encapsulation in action. By encapsulating the details of the recipe and special steps, the baker class maintains control over how the bread is made, ensuring that the special qualities are preserved and that the process is not misused or altered unintentionally. This mirrors how Ben keeps his recipe and special steps secret to maintain the quality and uniqueness of his bread.
Now let's go with the moral story of OOPS concept, inheritance. So when interview asks you what is inheritance, you can give this moral story example and then you can link with the programming language or programming language examples. Let's go with the moral stories first. In a peaceful kingdom, there was a wise and king named King Leo. King Leo was known for his fairness, wisdom, and bravery. He ruled the kingdom with kindness and always made sure his people were safe and happy. King Leo had a son named Prince Alex. Prince Alex admired his father and wanted to be just like him when he grew up. King Leo often took Prince Alex on his royal duties, teaching him how to be a good and fair ruler. One day, King Leo decided it was time for Prince Alex to learn how to lead the kingdom. He told Prince Alex, "My son, it is time for you to take on more responsibilities. You will learn to rule the kingdom just as I have by following in my footsteps." Prince Alex was nervous but excited. He knew that his father had set a great example for him. King Leo had taught him about fairness, bravery, and kindness, and Prince Alex was ready to use these lessons to help the kingdom. King Leo started by giving Prince Alex small tasks. He asked him to listen to the villagers' problems and find fair solutions. Prince Alex remembered his father's teachings and handled each situation with kindness and wisdom. The villagers were impressed and began to see that Prince Alex was just like his father. As time went on, King Leo gave Prince Alex more responsibilities. Prince Alex led the royal army, made important decisions, and even helped write new laws. He used the knowledge and skills he had inherited from his father to guide him. The kingdom continued to flourish under Prince Alex's leadership. One day, an old villager approached Prince Alex and said, "You are a great leader, just like your father. You have inherited his kingdom and kindness, and you are making the kingdom a better place." Prince Alex smiled and replied, "I have learned from the best. My father taught me everything I know, and I am proud to follow in his footsteps." King Leo watched with pride as Prince Alex ruled the kingdom. He knew that his son would continue his legacy and keep the kingdom strong and prosperous. Prince Alex's inheritance was not just the throne, but also the values and lessons that King Leo had passed down to him. And so the kingdom thrived under the leadership of Prince Alex, who had inherited all the best qualities of his father. The people lived happily, knowing that they were in good hands, and Prince Alex continued to rule with the wisdom and king kindness that he had learned from King Leo. Now let's go through the story by linking with the inheritance with the programming language. In the story, King Leo represents a parent class and Prince Alex represents a child class in an object-oriented programming system. The qualities and lessons King Leo passes down to Prince Alex are like the properties and methods that are inherited from a parent class to a child class. Here key concepts of inheritance in the story. Let's go through those key concepts. First is parent-child relationships. King Leo and Prince Alex. So here King Leo is parent class, Prince Alex is child class. Have a clear relationship where the child inherits characteristics from the parent. Second, inherited traits. Prince Alex inherits King Leo's wisdom, kindness, and leadership skills, just as a child class inherits properties and methods from a parent class. Third, extended functionality. Prince Alex learns and takes an additional responsibilities similar to how a child class can extend the functionality of a parent class. Okay, so now here there is an example where class is king. King has few methods: rule with wisdom, show kindness. Now there is a child class prince, extends king, which where when we are extending king, we are automatically inheriting the other methods which are public here: rule with wisdom, show kindness, both of this method. An additional method we are implementing under prince classes: lead army. So this is extra or additional feature we are adding inside the child class which is Prince. Now there is a main class where we are implementing, and we can call the classes method. Now explanation of this. First is parent class. The king class represents King Leo with methods rule with wisdom and show kindness that encapsulate his wisdom and kindness. These methods are available to any child class that inherits from king. Second is child class. The prince class extends the king class, meaning it inherits all the methods from king. The prince class also has an additional method, lead army, representing Prince Alex's new responsibilities. Third is main class. The kingdom class creates an instance of prince class and calls the inherited methods as well as the new method. This demonstrates how Prince Alex can use the inherited qualities of wisdom and kindness along with his own abilities to rule the kingdom. By using inheritance, the prince class can leverage the existing functionality of the king class and add its own unique methods. This mirrors how Prince Alex inherited King Leo's wisdom and kindness while also taking on new responsibilities to lead the kingdom effectively.
Now let's go with the another object-oriented programming concept named polymorphism. Now similarly here also we'll tell you a story and then we'll link with the programming language how it works in real programming language. Let's start with the story first. In a colorful meadow there was a wise old tree named Willow. Willow was home to many different animals, each with their unique way of living. One day, Willow noticed that some animals seemed to have similar roles even though they were quite different from each other. So, Willow is here tree. Willow decided to share a story with the young animals about understanding and appreciating these differences and similarities. The story went like this. Once upon a time, in a beautiful forest, there were three musicians Bela the bird, Danny the dog, and Ella the elephant. All three were known for their beautiful music, but each one played a different instrument. Bella the bird played a delicate flute. Her music was light and airy, and it filled the forest with a sweet, melodious sound. Whenever Bella played her flute, the flowers seemed to bloom a little brighter, and the butterflies danced joyfully in the air. Now, Danny the dog played a cheerful guitar. His music was lively and rhythmic, making everyone in the forest tap their feet and sway to the beat. Whenever Danny strummed his guitar, the animals gathered around to sing and dance, creating a festive atmosphere. Ella, the elephant, played a grand piano. Her music was deep and powerful, resonating through the forest like a gentle thunder. Whenever Ella pressed the keys of her piano, the trees seemed to sway with the music and the ground vibrated softly with each note. One day, the forest decided to hold a grand concert to celebrate their unity and diversity. Bella, Danny, and Ella were all invited to perform. Each musician was given a chance to showcase their talent, and the forest animals eagerly awaited the performance. Bella started the concert with her flute, filling the air with sweet, light melodies. Next, Danny played his guitar, and everyone danced to his lively tunes. Finally, Ella played her piano, and the deep, powerful music resonated through the forest. The concert was a great success, and everyone cheered for the three musicians. Willow, the wise old tree, spoke to the animals, saying, "Did you see how Bella, Danny, and Ella, though different in many ways, brought their unique talents to create beautiful music? Each one has a special way of making music, but together they create harmony." The animals realized that even though Bella, Danny, and Ella played different instruments, they were all musicians, capable of creating beautiful music in their own unique ways. They understood that diversity and different approaches could lead to a harmonious and beautiful result. From that day on, the animals appreciated each other's unique talents and understood that everyone had something special to contribute. Just like Bella, Danny, and Ella with their different instruments, the forest was filled with more music and joy than ever before, celebrating the beauty of their differences and similarities. Now let's link this story with the OOPS concept polymorphism. In the story, Bella, Danny, and Ella represent different classes in an object-oriented programming system. Each class has a method to play music but implements it in its own unique way. Polymorphism allows different classes to be treated as instances of the same parent class, even though they behave differently. Let's go through the key concepts of polymorphism in this story. First, unified interface. Bella, Danny, and Ella are all musicians who play music, even though they play different instruments. This is similar to how different classes in OOPS can share the same method name but implement it differently. Second, different implementations. Each musician has a unique way of playing music, just as different classes can have different implementations of the same method. Third, interchangeability. The forest concert treats Bella, Danny, and Ella as musicians, regardless of their specific instruments. In OOPS, polymorphism allows objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common parent class. Here is an example where we can see a class musician. The method inside that is play music. Now child class is bird, which is extending musician, and there is a overridden method play music. The same method we are overriding as play music. And there is a class dog extends musician. Again we are overriding here as well play music method. And elephant extends musician, which we are overriding again here the as play music. Now there is a main class where we are creating the objects of this bird, dog, elephant with musician class, and we are calling the play music method. Now the explanation on this, right? First is parent class. The musician class represents a general concept of a musician with a play music method. This method can be overridden by child classes to provide specific implementations. Child classes. The bird, dog, and elephant classes extend the musician class and override the play music method to provide specific implementations for each musician. Each child class represents a different way of playing music, similar to how Bella, Danny, and Ella play different instruments. Third is main class. The concert class creates instances of bird, dog, and elephant, treating them as musician object, where we are writing musician bird equals to new bird. Okay, so similarly for the other classes. The play music method is called on each instance, demonstrating polymorphism by executing different implementations of a same method based on the actual object type. By using polymorphism, the concert class can interact with different types of musicians in a unified way, just as the forest concert celebrated the unique contributions of Bella, Danny, and Ella, creating harmony through their diverse talents. Thank you. So there were these four concepts which are very important in an interview and most common interview questions. So you can tell with this story, which is a great examples that, and you can whenever you will tell this kind of story and you will link with the actual implementation, there will be a great feedback from you, great feedback for you, and definitely you are going to bang on the interview. Thank you again.